everyone, my name is Priyanka and welcome to my vlog. Today I'm going to teach you how you can build confidence in life. Now most of us, we struggle with basic things in life like how to build connections, new connections, how to make friends, how to have conversations with total strangers, or how to build ourselves into a position where we can easily have a conversation in a room filled with people who are our peers. Let's say if we want to go in a conference and we want to have a conversation with people out there, we struggle putting two sentences together. We struggle when it comes to public speaking. We struggle when it comes to creating new friendships and new connections. We struggle, especially when it comes to network. We find it very difficult to have normal conversations with people who are doing better than us, especially if you are somebody who wants to propel your career forward and you go and meet somebody who's doing better than you meet somebody who you look up to, then probably the chances are that you're going to have very difficult time having a conversation with that individual. You know why? Because you are struggling with lots of thoughts that are all about how you're not really good at this thing. So let's improve those thoughts, let's change those thoughts, and let's create a new pattern of thought. So today I'm going to teach you ways in which you can create new pattern of thought and improve your communication skills. At the end of the day, you need to develop some communication skills to go out there and propel your career forward, or just have normal social interactions with people. If you're fearing normal interactions with people, if you're fearing normal conversations with people, then it's time for you to change your thought process, because it's all about your mindset. It's all about how you have lived your life so far, and now time has come for you to bring in new belief systems. So how do we bring in new belief systems? How do we bring in new pattern of? Going on to the first point, we're going to understand that we have what I call an identity crisis going on in our life. Now, we've built this identity of ours, which we've picked up over the years. This is the identity that our peers gave us, who we studied with, in school. This is the identity that our teachers gave us. This is the identity that our parents gave us, our relatives gave us. And this is the kind of feedback system that we've created in our life, where we've picked on a lot of feedback in our life, and then we've collected that feedback, and now we're dependent on that feedback to tell us how we are living our life. So let's say somebody told you early on in life that you are not really good at having these kind of conversations where people are talking intelligent stuff, and you can't come up with one intelligent sentence because you don't know anything. You are not somebody who can focus on a conversation. You're not somebody who can bring in new conversation, new ideas into a conversation. So now the problem is that you've taken all of that feedback and created that identity. You have two sorts of identities in life. This is the identity where your ego is telling you that you're not doing so well in life. Now this is the identity which is on the worst case scenario, where you say to yourself, oh, I cannot do this in my life because I lack so many things in my life. I lack the confidence to speak, I lack knowledge, and I lack that attitude, looks. I don't have anything in me that can attract somebody to listen to me. So this is the identity that you have created, which is an identity of lack. Now, first thing that you need to understand whenever you go on building new belief systems is that you have to first of all find out what were your old belief systems, and you have to remove them completely, because unless you do that, you'll keep on creating those same mistakes again and again. So if your old belief system was that I cannot strike a conversation until unless somebody is helping me out, so you need somebody else to strike a conversation with you, then only you go out there and then you speak way less. Or probably you're somebody who strikes the first conversation, but your conversation is so difficult for anybody to grasp, or you're just too enthusiastic that people just step away from you because they feel uncomfortable, then You have to strike a balance. So how do we bring in that balance? How do we bring in those new belief systems? Of course, first is that we identify what all belief systems are not working out for us, and we can do that very easily by looking at our actions and our behaviors and understanding what kind of response we're getting from people around us. So if we are paying attention to the responses we're getting, then we can understand on which side we are on, right? We can understand whether we are on the best side of ourselves, where we are just too over and through, or if we are on the worst side of ourselves, where we are not able to talk. Now, if you have an understanding where you are, or probably you're in the middle, sometimes you do very well and then you get a feedback from somebody and then you're not doing well, then don't worry. We are going to improve our belief systems, and through those belief systems, we can create confidence in our life. Now, that confidence can only come in your life when you are grounding yourself. Actually, the problem with everybody around is that people don't ground themselves. The problem with people is that people don't ground themselves. You have nothing to stand upon. You have very limited knowledge. You don't read well. And because you don't read well, you have nothing to talk about. You don't have much of a general knowledge. You don't listen to news. Or if you are listening to news, then you have too much of an opinion. You are talking too much. So you have to understand where you have to strike a conversation and with whom and what level you need to strike a conversation. So what you need to do is you need to wait and watch where the conversation is going. So initial conversation should be all about making somebody comfortable, as well as trying not to force yourself too hard to speak up, and not forcing another individual to listen to what you're talking all the time, because that's what people do. Either they don't talk too much, or they are talking too much that they don't allow another individual to even speak up. Now, that is not good. So you have to strike a balance, and that balance can come in if you are simply, first of all, breathing in that conversation. We oftentimes forget we are breathing, right? Either we get too excited, so we are breathing like this. We are over enthusiastic, so we are hardly giving ourselves any break to breathe. And then if we are not talking properly, we are shallow breathing like this. Like we are struggling to breathe. So focus on your breaths. Believe me, it's going to work wonders for you. The moment you start focusing on your breath, everything is going to calm down, and that mind of yours, which was fearing things or which was overexcited because you met somebody and you wanted to strike a conversation, is going to go into a stable phase. And then, yes, you can understand what kind of sentences to put forth next, because right now you don't have any sentence in your mind. You're not really thinking through your mind, you're thinking through your emotions. So you have to direct your emotions onto your mental thought process. Now, right now, you don't have a thought process going on. You simply are just standing there and trying to have a conversation, but that is not how you can build confidence. That is not how you can communicate. That's not how you can improve your communication skills. So breathe. Just start practicing this. Sometimes it's going to make other people realize that you're probably not talking enough. But in initial phases, if you start breathing and just start, taking deep breaths, not too deep that somebody gets put out by your deep breathing, you just breathe and allow yourself that space where you are collected. Because right now you're not really collected. Either you're too fearful or you're too overly excited. So that is where you are going to improve your communication skills. Going on to the third point, that is, now we're going to understand how we can build these belief systems. So we can build these belief systems by building on our strengths, because so far we've not really built our strength. We don't have any idea on what our strengths are. So we are really not focusing on our strengths. We are only focusing on the outside world. And because we're focusing on the outside world, we are not paying attention to the kind of value we can bring onto the table. Now, if you want to improve your life, if you want to build your strength, start reading. I am telling you, you're going to gain a lot of knowledge through these books. You're going to understand different nuances of life. And I'm making this videos because I'm currently reading a book. I'm going to share the book that I'm reading. I'm reading this book, How to Talk to Anyone. and it gave me a beautiful idea. Although what I'm talking about here is not really coming in from this book. You can go out there and read this book. It's really wonderful. And this is how you build yourself up. You read books and you interact with like-minded people. Then you have conversations regarding what's happening in the world. So right now the problem is that you've not really paid attention to your own strengths. Whatever your strengths are, you can note them down and you can start working upon these strengths. You can upgrade yourself, improve yourself. Now, let's say your strength is that you're able to recognize people's emotions very easily. You are able to read their faces. So use that for your benefit. Understand what this person is trying to portray through their face. You can do face reading. It's wonderful when you read people's expressions, because that is how you can get to know if someone is irked, or if someone is not interested, or someone is losing interest, or someone is really, really interested. You can get to know everything from face reading, and people give away these cues so easily. So you can do that if that's where you're good at, or probably you're good at, you're just a good listener. So if you're a good listener, it's going to be an advantage for you, because people love talking sometimes. And if you're a good listener, then yes, they're going to enjoy talking to you because you're lending them an ear. So this is how you can improve your skill sets. Now, there are lots of skills and lots of strengths that you can work upon. So how do we build our strengths? We can build our strength by understanding what is it that we're good at. So if we're good at something, we're going to work upon it. We're going to build ourselves, because whatever you work upon is going to build your character. And that character is going to shine through, because you know your strengths. You're now grounded and you're not worried what others are going to say to you, how they're going to react at you. When you become stable in your mind, because you're now supported with your own strengths, you have that support working for you, what's going to happen is that people are going to pay attention to you, because people will wonder, why is this person so calm and collected, and how come they are just talking in that right sentences? They're not over and they're not under. They're going to understand how you are not really talking too much and not really talking less. And that's how you can build yourself up. That is by paying attention to your own strengths. Now, one more thing which you can do to build your self-confidence, especially when it comes to public speaking or going out there and introducing yourself, and that is you can listen to some videos online where people teach you manners, how you can talk, how you can sit, how you can dress up. Now, these are something that you can pick up very easily, but then there's something else that's missing in your life, even if you learn all of this stuff. You know what? And that is how you're thinking, because that's exactly where things are going to be very, very different for you. Now, if your thought process is based on fear, you're going to feel fearful no matter how well you're dressed up, no matter how well you've taught yourself, you've read lots of books, you've built your strengths, but at the end of the day, you have a lot of fears. And those fears erupt just when you're supposed to go out there and, meet people. And you have a lot of fear coming in, because now you've raised your expectations. And I've done so much in my life, but yet when it comes to talking to people, I don't have that kind of confidence in myself. That is the thought that is keeping you back. Now, problem is that you've not worked on your thoughts, because your thoughts matter and you've never paid attention to your thoughts. Now, your thoughts need to change, but you've never paid attention to your thoughts. That's why you're not changing your thoughts. Now, how do we change our thoughts? We can change our thoughts by first realizing what all fears we have in our life, what's stopping us, what's pulling us back. And that can only happen if you start journaling, if you start writing down your thought process and keep noting how you are reacting to situations, what all fears you're feeling. And if you realize that, what's going to happen is that you're going to just take a mental note. What you're going to do is that you keep on taking these notes mentally if you cannot journal, right? Because life is happening to you and you cannot carry a copy and a pen everywhere. So make a note. And then at the end of the day, sit with yourself and rewire your brain, because that's all it needs. You need to rewire yourself. So when you're alone and you've spent an entire day thinking thoughts that were not working out for you, you sit down and introduce new thoughts. because that's the only way you can change your thought process. You cannot go on controlling your thoughts. So what you can do is you can inculcate this habit of creating new thoughts. That's how you can change your life around. So how do we inculcate the habit of creating new thoughts? We can do that by creating this gap, and that gap can only happen if you sit in stillness. I know it's a big ask that you should sit every day for 15 minutes in stillness, because the moment you do that, what you're going to do is you're going to create a lot of gap in your mind. That chaotic mind of yours, that fearful mind of yours is going to get some rest. And in that resting phase, you're going to introduce a new thought that says, you know what, I'm not fearful of facing new opportunities. I'm not fearful of meeting new people. I'm not fearful of this life. I have lots of confidence now. The moment you start doing that, the brain doesn't realize the difference between negative and positive thoughts. So what you've done is you've removed those negative thoughts and replaced them with positive ones. And the moment you do that, you're going to see a lot of difference coming in your life. Now, let's say that you were very fearful of meeting new people or introducing yourself in a room full of brilliant people. Now you don't have that problem because you've introduced a new thought. So suddenly you feel as if, there's a change in you. And you realize that you can go out there and have a conversation with people who might be far more superior to you in terms of knowledge and position, but still you can make your mark. You know why? Because now you've introduced this thought that it doesn't matter what people think of me. What matters is what I think of myself, and I'm not fearful of this life. I'm not fearful of these people, and I can stand on my own 2 feet, and I can do better for myself. Now, that is a thought that's going to change your life around. Now, these are very simple things that I've taught you. They're not much, but you can apply them in your life. And if you keep on applying them, keep on changing your thought process, keep on changing your belief systems, keep on working on your strengths, keep on adding value to your skill sets, what you're going to find is that you are far more confident than where you started. And if you think that somehow this vlog was able to help you in some form or the other, then please do like, share and subscribe and comment down below. Thank you for watching and see you in the next one.